Well, hello and welcome. My name's Matthew Walker with Medical Device Academy, and I'm here again with founder and president Robert Packard. We're here to discuss our upcoming 510K workshop in Amsterdam. We're going to be going over the day one agenda, which is Monday, October 8th, 2018.
Thank you, Matthew. So, for those of you that haven't heard of this event before, last year we did a 2-day workshop on 510K submissions in Amsterdam. But this year is going to be a little different. We've expanded the workshop to be 4 days because a lot of people want us to integrate information about the new CE marking requirements and think about their strategy for launching new products. Do you launch in the US first? Do you launch in Europe first? And how do you integrate those two strategies? The other thing that we did last year is we focused on the different technical testing that was required for a 510K submission. And a lot of that testing is the same regardless of whether you're submitting to the FDA or you're submitting to a CE marking notified body. And one of the most popular areas last year was the biocompatibility testing requirements. Thor Rollins is on the committee that revised ISO 10993. Last year, he was sharing it with us as a draft, and just this month, it was released. So now you can get ISO 10993-1 2018, and there's been a lot of change to the standard. So he'll be sharing that with us, and we decided to expand the first day, so it's going to cover more than just biocompatibility. We're going to cover two other areas that I get a lot of questions about. One of those is cleaning validation, and the other one is sterilization validation. So you're going to have the experts from Nelson Labs there for the entire day, answering your questions and presenting on those three topics. And then you'll also have Mary Votter speaking about how to prepare your 510K submission for the sections on biocompatibility, sterilization validation, and cleaning validation, how to incorporate those test reports into your submission. And then I'll be speaking about how to incorporate it into your CE marking technical file. So this is sort of a joint effort of Medical Device Academy and Nelson Labs, and it's day one of our 4-day workshop. The other 3 days we're going to be talking about on day two, the 510K strategy in general, US FDA regulation for quality systems, FDA inspections, registration. We're also going to be speaking about human factors. We'll have a guest speaker on human factors. Day 3, we're going to be speaking about clinical evaluations, post-market surveillance requirements, post-market clinical follow-up studies, and preparing that whole Annex 3 section in the new MDD or new MDR for Europe. And then on the last day, we'll be hitting the areas of software, cybersecurity, and General Data Protection Act, electrical safety, and EMC requirements, because the EMC standard in Europe and in the US, you're going to have to be compliant with the 4th edition of 6601-1-2, which is the EMC standard. So that's the overall 4 days of our workshop. But this particular video is just covering the highlights of what we're going to be covering on day one, which is Nelson Labs and Medical Device Academy. And if you're looking for a reminder here, go by this standard and start your plan now. And if you want to get a heads up in preparing that, Thor Rollins can really help with, because he actually was on the committee that helped write that standard. So here's the agenda. It gives you minute by minute or hour by hour what we're doing and who the speakers are for the workshop. And as I said, Mary's going to be talking about how to incorporate it into your 510K, and I'm going to be talking about how to incorporate it in your technical file, and then we'll have Q&A and closing remarks at the end of the day. There's lots of opportunities for networking. We're going to start right in the morning at 8 a.m. with lots of networking. So if you want to sleep in, you know where it is. You have a train ride in. If you live in Amsterdam or nearby, I have people taking the train into the central station. You walk out of the central station, hang a left, and there's a DoubleTree right there. Everybody that attends the workshop will get a flash drive. You'll get all the speakers' slide decks for that day, as well as my book on how to prepare a 510K in 100 days. And you also get the templates for creating a 510K. 9 to 9:30, I'll be doing introductory remarks. So if you're looking for how late can I get there and not miss anything, 9 a.m. And this gives a little blurb on what my company does. Medical Device Academy is a consulting firm. We specialize in compliance for quality systems. So whether it's ISO 1345, the FDA QSR, or some other regulation, MD-SAP regulations, Brazil, Australia, Japan, whatever country you're doing business in as a medical device company. The other area we get involved in is education. So we provide webinars and on-site training and workshops like this 510K workshop to companies that need training. And then we have regulatory submissions we prepare. That's probably 80% of our business. Most of our business is preparing regulatory submissions for companies, whether it's the US 510K submissions or European technical files or Canadian licensing. But most of the companies out there are focusing on the US market right now because it's one of the largest medical device markets, and it's a lot easier to get the 510Ks than it is to get CE marking right now. You can't even get a quote out of some of the notified bodies right now. Here's some information about Nelson Labs. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Nelson Labs is one of the largest biocompatibility and microbiology testing labs in the United States. They're a very large lab. They're very well connected with the FDA. They participate with the FDA on several committees for different standards. The lab does not do any animal testing on site. They have decided strategically they're going to focus on toxicology and microbiology tests. So any of the animal testing that needs to be done for biocompatibility testing, such as sensitization and skin irritation, they outsource to a company called Wuxi Aptec, which is one of their competitors, but it makes a lot of sense. It allows them to specialize in that particular area. And Thor Rollins is one of the people there that's really driven that. He believes that there are a lot of tests out there that could be replaced with modern toxicology tests that don't have to euthanize animals. So that's one of the things I really like about Nelson Labs. And there's some new tests out there that he's been working with the FDA on, trying to replace some of the older tests that really don't tell us much, whereas a toxicology test can replace some of those tests. So that's something that he can share as well, and you might want to ask some questions about. I know there are two other standards he's also getting close to completing. It's the 10993-17 and -18 standards. So those are also going to be changing. But they have all kinds of webinars on their site that you can get for continuing education as well. And they also have their own conference in Germany that they're going to be attending after our workshop. The first speaker for the day will be Thor Rollins. He's going to be speaking about the 10993-1 standard, the biocompatibility standard. And if you can't wait for Thor's or can't make it to the conference, we also have a webinar on biocompatibility testing. You can download it from our website. It's available on demand, and there's the link for it. Here's some information about Thor. He's an ex-football player and an outstanding speaker. He's one of the best speakers I've ever seen. So everybody really enjoys hearing him speak. And biocompatibility is a fairly dry topic, so that's saying a lot. Then we have a networking break. This event has a lot of networking breaks on purpose, so you can get to know the other people there, and so you can ask the speakers questions specifically to your company, because they can't always answer all your questions face to face in the crowd, because you might have some proprietary or confidential information you can't share with the group, but you're okay with sharing it with one of the speakers. Then you can pull them aside and ask your question to them, and they can answer it. So that's one of the nice features of having lots of networking. Then we'll be having a speaker also from Nelson Labs, Emily Mitzel. She's going to be speaking about the cleaning validation for reusable devices. I find a lot of companies have not considered preparing their own cleaning validation. They often justify out of it, or they say, well, you know, everybody will do what the hospital's protocol is anyway, or they'll just use rubbing alcohol or whatever. And the FDA doesn't allow that for a reusable device. If it's a reusable device, they want to see cleaning validation. And so that's something that's being emphasized more and more, and companies are expected to show that testing. So She's going to be, I've asked her to speak on that topic. I'm also going to be giving people a small webinar on that topic so they can learn some of that. So if you can't make it to the event or can't wait until then, you're doing cleaning validation now, I'm going to be giving a live webinar on September 4th. This is a backup bio on Emily Mitzel. She's one of Nelson Labs' most experienced speakers, and she's also an outstanding speaker. They've really done a fantastic job of putting together some great speakers to educate their clients. So this is her bio and gives her contact information here. Then we're going to have lunch. So yes, the lunch is included in the event. So there is a lunch area downstairs at the hotel, and that's where we'll be eating lunch each day of the conference. So lunch is included for whatever days you've decided to register for, and it's another great opportunity to network. So if you follow Thor or Emily down to the downstairs, maybe you can sit down and have lunch with them that day and hand them your card and maybe get a quote out of them. And then after lunch, we're going to have sterilization validation. Martell Winters is going to be speaking from Nelson Labs. I've actually used them many times to help with sterilization validation, a lot of EO sterilization. They actually sell some biological indicators, some process challenge devices. Some of my clients actually ordered them from Nelson Labs, and they've already got the validation done, so that can save you a lot of work because they've already got the database built up. If you want to learn more about what's required for the sterilization and shelf life sections of your 510K submission or CE marking submission, I have a webinar on that topic that's also available on demand. And here's Martell Winters' background bio for Nelson Labs. And I also have his contact information here if you want to contact him and ask questions. Then we have another networking opportunity, a break in the afternoon. So once again, we're really trying to give everybody an ample opportunity to ask questions with audience members, ask questions of the speakers. And I believe that they're going to be heading for the airport around 3 o'clock. So this is your last chance to talk with the folks from Nelson Labs. And then from 2:20 to 3:30, Mary will be speaking about how to prepare the 510K sections 14 and 15. 14 is the sterilization and shelf life section, and biocompatibility is section 15. I think she'll also be probably touching on what you would do for the cleaning validation. That's typically put in section 18 under performance testing, but it could be put in one of these other two sections as well, as long as you make it very clear in your table of contents where it is. If you want more information about how to prepare your 510K, I actually have webinars on every single section of a 510K, and you can buy the whole entire series of them. If you follow that link, there are more than 24 webinars that are recorded, and there's over 20 hours, I think, of recording on there now. Here's Mary's bio. She actually, in her first year working for me, she did 6 different submissions. All of them were cleared in less than 90 days, which is quite a feat. Not too many consultants are able to guarantee any kind of turnaround for the FDA, but to consistently get 6 read in a row that were all under 90 days was pretty impressive. And I can definitely say from working with the reviewer that she had, they were not easy. They were very demanding, and we were still able to meet all their needs and get the submission done on time. But she works remotely for me, full-time out of Kansas City, and she spends a lot of time going to sites to perform supplier audits, internal audits, or consult on site for companies that are short a quality system manager and fill in an interim basis, or just helping a company that's got a lot of things that are going on and they need to make some improvements. Then we'll have another networking session. Like I said, lots of networking for this event. And then I'll be speaking myself about the CE marking requirements. For the Global Harmonization Task Force, they have 3 different sections where they ask questions for what should be in your technical file. They give you some guidance. So I'll be going over those. That's one template. Another template that people use is the MB Med document, but both of those are going to get ultimately replaced by what's required in the new MDR. So the regulation 2017-745 that goes into effect 2020 in March, that is going to be, or actually I guess it's May, that is going to be the new requirement on how to organize your CE marking technical files. So I can touch on that as well to give people ideas of how they can organize their technical files. And if you're looking for strategies to combine your 510K submission and CE marking to save yourself a lot of time and have documents that can be used for both, I've done that with my device description. I've done it with some other documents, and we have a webinar explaining on how to do that if you're interested. And then at the end of the day, we'll be doing some closing remarks and probably have a few pints or ciders at the hotel. And if you're staying for the rest of the conference, we'll see you for the other 3 days. You can stay for as many days as you want. But we'll be attending not just the first day, but all 4 days. Nelson Labs will only be there for the first day. So that's the entire agenda for the workshop. Attendees are going to receive the thumb drives, the templates, and they're also going to receive a digital copy of my book, How to Prepare a 510K in 100 Days. If you're interested in registering for the conference, it's $499 per day or $1,996 for all 4 days. You can sign up for 1 day, 2 days, as many days as you want. You can skip a day if, for instance, you're not interested in clinical evaluations, or you're not interested in electromedical devices because your device is passive. Whatever days make the most sense for your company, you can attend just those days. And if you have any questions about the event, speakers, topics, if you're looking to set up, you don't want to purchase online, you want me to invoice you, that's possible as well. If you have multiple attendees you're trying to get to the event, if you're having trouble with hotel reservations, whatever it is, don't hesitate to contact me. I have Skype, email, and my Google Voice number, which goes to my cell and my landline. And the best way to get a hold of me of all is to schedule a meeting. So I have a Calendly link at the bottom. So if you have several people in your company that want to discuss a specific topic that we're covering, and you want to ask some questions about it, get a sense for our area of expertise and how knowledgeable we are about it, don't hesitate to schedule a meeting with us. If you have a 510K, you're like, that's great that you're having a 510K workshop, but we don't have time to go to the event, but we need help with our 510K, we need help with our CE marking submission. Just set up an appointment and I'll try to answer your questions. And like this session, we can even record it. Thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate it, and I hope you can make it to the event, and looking forward to seeing you then, October 8th. See you soon.